Hello and welcome to another quick guide with Mr. Ree. Welcome. And today we'll be looking at the tank guide for the Eternal Palace. First off, we have the Commander Shavar. Your raid will be split into two halves, one poison and one ice. One tank picks up the boss, and when the stacks hurt, he calls for a tank swap. Quick reminder, when your debuff drops, it leaves a puddle, so make sure to get to the edge of the room. There is a soak mechanic, but we just had a melee stack and the damage was actually quite minimal. On to the next one, the Black Water Behemoth. It's just another tank and spank. When the tank stacks hurt, call for a taunt swap. Make sure to stay nice and close to the boss, and when traveling to different platforms, make sure not to have the debuff. It's now for the element that we're pretty sure I've seen before. It's the Radiance of Ashara. Tanking starts to get a bit interesting here as we begin to move around in a circle. Taunt when the other tank gets knocked back, and when the barriers pop up, it's time to lead your raid to the mini-boss. Once you're moving through one of the barriers, it clears the path for the rest of your raid to follow. Tank the mini-boss at the edge of the mini-circle and make sure to get to the center when the knockback is cast. And then you just rinse and repeat. Lady Ashvin, what a hottie, you know what I'm talking about. Following the same motion as the previous boss, you get a kite around the circle again, swapping every smash and moving out of the coral. At one point, you will get a bubble debuff. You just stack with the two other people who have a bubble, are slightly ahead of the boss. DPS will burn you out, and you just keep going. When it comes to the cutting mechanic, just tell your DPS what color you are, and let them do all the work. Tank life! Or Gazzola. Now, the guys are right, this actually really hurts. So, when the tank who is going to open pulls, make sure you just call for an external and tank it to the side of the room. We had a total of 4 taunts, maybe 5, and they just lined up with the ads spawning. So, when the ads spawn, one tank taunt swaps, that tank then needs to make sure that they have an external onto them, or as a brewmaster does that the iron skin, and the first hit hits really hard, and the other tank gets the ads. Once the ads die, their debuff falls off and they taunt back. Pretty simple stuff there. The Queen's Court. Now, this is actually one of the funner bosses to tank, and I think it's just because I'm constantly taunt swapping. But all you just need to do is keep the bosses separate, the melee boss in the middle and the caster on the outside. And when the caster gets to 8 stacks on your debuff, you just call for a taunt swap. At what point the tank is tanking the caster on the outside, the bubble will come out in the middle, and you might need an external, so just call for it. I mean, the next boss was kind of the best. I mean, Zaku, what a boss. We're talking about it. Unless you're playing a tank and watching this guy, because really it was pretty shit. So all you have to do is stack together the whole time. Tank the boss on the outside. I suggest a tank who's better at magic mitigating is your off tank, and the one who can take melee hits more, he should be on the main boss. And I mean, all you need to do is move za'qul around the moon and make sure he stands in these big circles, which are these tears, which if you have DBM or weak aura, just go over there, put him in there. He gets hit, damage buff, easy, you just move around the room. The only thing I could tell you is just make sure to keep him facing on the inside, because when he does the 3 eyes in front of you, in front of him, DP's then a stack in. If he's facing outward, it'll be in the void and they will die. So just be aware of that. I mean, and then finally we just have Queen Ashara, and then that was an amazing fight. So let's just start with the first off, you're going to stack the 2 ads together. They get a buff called Painful Memories. When that comes out, you need to move them away to line of sight between a pillar. We move the melee out to the far side. You keep them on the edge because every time, few seconds, you'll get hit and a purple spawn puddle will spawn underneath you. You need to move out of that. So I just pretty much went to the edge and I slowly moved, and I could kind of make it spawn just on top of each other so it didn't get way out of control for later into the raid. Then once the buff of Painful Minutes dropped off, you can bring them together and they'll pretty much will get burnt down. Intermission comes out then, and hopefully you'll have a weak aura to track what to do. It gets a bit crazy there, and then Ashara comes down, and really we just taunt off about 20 stacks here, and we tanked her in the middle because when the group ads that walk into the middle come out, we used a mass DK, blood DK grip, got stunned, destroyed, and then we moved Queen towards the console circle, so it was easy to lost the arcane blast. From there, you'll just really, you should have maybe 1 or 2 arcane blasts depending on your DPS, and then intermission begins. Again, weak auras, you need to be using them. It makes it so much easier to find out what you're doing with your decree. After the mission, the intermission, however, an ad will spawn in the middle of the room. Now, I made sure as a brewmaster I could instantly torpedo and pick it up or call for Mr. X, because if you don't have threat on that little melee guy, he's just going to smack your healer, and it happened on the first couple of pulls until I understood where he was spawning. So you're going to need to pick him up and a Shavar up, and then start running them to one of the two caster ads, and the rest of the DPS should know the mechanics there. Really, from there, you've now got Ashara and the ad. You're now taunt swapping with Ashara, still at 20 stacks, and moving her towards the two caster ads, and then lossing in the arcane, same as before. At this point, you'll have the caster ads go down, and she'll become void, and you'll start getting void touch. So the first tank will get 2 stacks of void touch. We then taunt swapped, and then from then, anytime if the stacks fell off, we taunt swapped again, and then from there you're just moving around to where the wards are. And I mean, that's pretty much it for this quick guide. So good luck, thanks for watching these videos. Please click a follow, click a like, click a sub, or visit my stream at twitch.tv/Mr. Everything's below, and I love your support, and I'll keep making the quick guides. I'm out.